the king of the north!
I am the dragon's daughter.
What right does the wolf judge the lion?
Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. And stop the fucking press. I have something to tell you today. So today I'm scrolling around Twitter, so I see that Ilio and Linda have tweeted an interview that Time magazine did with George R.R. Martin. So I'm reading the interview and I'm drinking my morning frap, and I had to stop because my fucking mouth dropped open and I nearly choked to death. So I went back to reread the shit that I had just read again, and I was like, oh my god, it really says that. If you follow me on a Twitter or Instagram, then you saw me tweeting it and posting it this morning. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole interview, but I will link it in the description box so you can read it yourself. It's actually worth the read. It's a pretty good interview, and reading is good mind exercise. But I will be reading you the juice. So first off, we know George is a big fan of Tolkien, the legendary author of Lord of the Rings. In Lord of the Rings, Gandalf dies and then comes back as Gandalf the White. So in the article, George basically says that he kind of didn't like how Gandalf died and then came back kind of the same as he was and even more powerful. So at this time, they're talking about Lady Stoneheart. So George says, yeah, if someone comes back from being dead, especially if they suffer a traumatic death, they're not going to come back as nice as ever. So the interviewer then says, and Jon Snow too, is drained by the experience of coming back from the dead on the show. And George R.R. Martin answers with this. Now hold on to your britches. Right. And poor Beric Dondarrion, who was set up as the foreshadowing of all of this. Every time he's a little less Beric. His memories are fading, he's got all these scars, he's becoming more physically hideous because he's not a living human being anymore. His heart isn't beating, his blood isn't flowing in his veins, he's a white, but a white animated by fire instead of ice. He's a white, but a white animated by fire instead of ice. So I almost lost my shit. This means that Jon is a white as well, a white animated by fire. Jon was brought back the same way that Beric was brought back, and that was with the kiss of life. So this brings on so many new possibilities into what's going on here, and it almost changes everything. Is the Song of Ice and Fire really a duelist battle between the gods, as in like the Lord of Light and the Great Other? And will there be two undead armies battling each other? So we might get some kind of Lord of the Rings shit, like when Aragorn summoned the dead of Dunharrow to fight with him. So Jon might have his own undead army that were reanimated by fire, and the Night King might have his undead army reanimated by ice. I have always thought that the crypts of Winterfell and the dead kings and the lords from years and years ago might be awoken, but I never really knew how. I always assumed that it might be Bran, but with this new news, I think they might be reanimated with fire, and Jon may lead them sort of like Aragorn did to fight the White Walkers. And we might get Ragnarok from Norse mythology playing out in full cinematic glory. So what do you guys think of what George said in the interview, and what do you think now that we know that the kiss of life makes you into a fire white? How do you think this will change the story? Like, I'm mind blown right now, and I just cannot wait for season 7 or the Winds of Winter. I'm just super hyped. Thanks so much for your support. I love you all. And if I didn't have you, I would have no one to talk Game of Thrones with. So I'm so thankful for that. Also, I want to give a shout out to my supporters on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for everyone for watching this video. Please like this video if you like it. And please click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the sweet summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children. Have a good day.
Shame.